Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this afternoon's live commentary coverage of the Liuna 175 at the Milwaukee Mile for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. It'll be the final live commentary stream of the weekend for this Truck Series standalone event as the playoffs begin here on this August Sunday afternoon. Appreciate everybody tuning in here today. Should be a fun race. This is a very slippery race, very fast straightaways, of course, with it being a 1 mile racetrack. Layout of it very similar to New Hampshire. We've seen some pretty good racing at New Hampshire earlier this year with the Xfinity and the Cup Series, but the Truck Series has not raced on a track like this yet this season, so we'll see how this is going to turn out for today. Be sure to hit the like button on the stream if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. And as I mentioned already, this is again the playoff opener for the Truck Series. 10 drivers and their quest to win a championship begins right now over these last 7 races this season. We'll go through the point standings here in a matter of moments. So here is a look at those playoff standings to begin the postseason here. Corey Heim, 39 points above the cutoff line. Christian Eckes, actually the regular season champion, is the number 2 seed. He didn't quite have as many playoff points as Heim. Heim had a couple more wins than Eckes, but Eckes is the regular season champion, plus 36 points above the cutoff line for him as well. Ty Majeski, who's won each of the last 2 races, vaulted himself to 21 points above the cutoff line, and I believe he finished 3rd in the regular season standings as a result, gaining him 8 playoff points there on top of the couple of wins he had, a couple stage wins in those last couple races. So great, solid run to Majeski. Really, that's the difference in him being right around the cutoff line and being 3rd, plus 21 as we begin this first race of the first round. Nick Sanchez plus 16 points is the number 4 seed. Roger Carruth, the 5 seed, is 7 points to the good. Grant Enfinger is only 5 points to the good, as well as Tyler Ankrum. They're the 6 and 7 seed. Taylor Gray is only 1 point to the good in the number 8 seed. Again, so only 2 drivers are going home through the first round of the playoffs because it's only a 10-driver field for the Truck Series through these first 3 races. The 2 drivers below the cutoff line are Ben Rhodes and Daniel Dye. Rhodes minus 1 point, and Daniel Dye making his playoff debut in the Truck Series, and his second season will be minus 2 points. So very, very tight, to say the least. Really, with honestly, even Majeski, even though he's been hot as of late, only 21 points above, a 23-point difference between 3rd and 10th in the standings here. So round over round here for the Truck Series is going to be very tight. And you'll tend to see that more in the Truck Series, especially in the first round, considering it's only a 16-race regular season. The season's much shorter than that of the Xfinity and the Cup Series. They have 10 less races in the regular season, so less opportunity for playoff points to be built up. And most of those were taken over, of course, by Heim and Eckes throughout the course of the season. So that is the standings coming into this race. Now let's take a look at the starting lineup for this one here today. Ty Majeski on the pole, trying to go for 3 wins in a row. He was a winner here 2 seasons ago in 2022. Tanner Gray will line up in the outside of the front row. He just missed out on the playoffs. He would have been the first driver that missed on points after the regular season finale at Richmond 2 weeks ago. Christian Eckes and Corey Heim, these drivers who have dominated the season in the wins column, will be on the second row for the start of the race tonight. Nick Sanchez and William Sawalich will line up in row number 3. Caden Honeycutt with Roger Carruth in row 4. And if you see a P in parentheses around Honeycutt's race truck, that is because the 45 truck is in the owner's playoffs because Ross Chastain winning with that team earlier this season. As far as Tyler Ankrum, Daniel Dye, they'll make up the top 10 in row 5. Taylor Gray with Grant Enfinger in row 6. Bailey Curry, Matt Crafton in row 7. First time Crafton has missed the playoffs in his truck career. 3-time champion there. Ty Dillon with Lane Riggs will line up in row number 8. Row number 9 for Matt Mills and Ben Rhodes. Row number 10, Sammy Smith, Jake Garcia. Much like the 45 team, the 7 team is running for the owner's playoffs for the Truck Series. Kyle Busch won 2 races in that truck earlier this season. Chase Purdy and Dean Thompson will line up in row number 11. Row number 12 for Stuart Friesen and Marco Andretti. Jack Wood, Connor Jones in row 13. Timmy Hill with Brett Holmes in row 14. Mesa Maggio, Lawless Allen, row 15. Row 16, Matthew Gold and Dexter Bean. Row 17 is going to be Spencer Boyd, Thad Moffitt and Spencer Boyd, excuse me. And then Justin Carroll and Jason Alexander will round out the field in row 18. So that is your 36 truck starting lineup for today's race. Because this is a standalone Truck Series race, there will not be any live pit stops for this one. So the way the stage splits are, we're not going to be seeing any green flag pit stops in this one. They're fairly even in length. And any pit stops that do take place during the cautions with these this older surface, it will eat at the tires. Again, you'll go in the same position you basically come out of the pits based off of everybody that does decide to pit. Now, obviously, it's not mandatory that you have to pit during the stage yellows or during the actual caution flag periods as well. And I would imagine during the 2 stage yellows, it'll probably be about a 5-minute caution clock or red flag period clock for the teams to make adjustments. This is a rule that was put in place right in the late 2010s for the Xfinity and Truck Series standalone events like you're seeing here this weekend. This is the last standalone event for the Truck Series in 2024, as their last 6 races will be on the same weekend at the same track. The Cup Series will be racing on that weekend. Ethan Chua, Matthew Dorter, Bruno, Michael Turner, and McKee boys, thanks for tuning in. Well, at least we know most of the 2025 schedule, so it's a matter of the order of it for the most part. But we know some select dates, a lot of select dates really from here and there. Frank Powers, thanks for tuning into the stream as well. Yeah, congrats on Harrison Burton winning that thrilling race at Daytona last night for the Cup Series. A wild race, to say the least. Had its moments and upset winner, which has kind of been the case that we've seen so many times this summer through the Cup Series side of things. Might be the last truck race in Milwaukee. We'll see. I will say the crowd doesn't look quite as existent as it has the last couple of seasons that the Truck Series has been going to Milwaukee, which is not something you would like to see with it being a standalone event. The race is on Fox Sports 1 for anybody wondering. Of course, they are still taking over coverage for the remainder of the Truck Series season, even though, of course, NBC and USA Network have picked up the recent Xfinity and Cup Series broadcast as of the last couple of months. We'll listen into some of that broadcast here on the call. Today is going to be Adam Alexander, Phil Parsons, and Michael Waltrip in the booth.
Champion Christian Eckes. This is the first time in his racing career where he has had a friendly and competed against the same driver week in and week out. But he said that's been very beneficial for he and his team. He said anytime Corey Heim and that 11 truck do better than us or win a race, that just pushes us to take our game to the next level and motivates us to do better. And as the saying goes, iron sharpens iron. And with the interaction between these two teams, it has certainly shaped their success so far this season. But as far as his approach for this opening round of the playoffs, Christian said, my objective is to get as many playoff points as possible to set us up good for this round of 8 coming up later. Adam?
Thanks a lot, Heather. Let's look at the Craftsman track description, Adam. This is the Milwaukee Mile, so I'm sure it's going to show that it's a mile .015 in length. We just rounded, you predicted, we rounded that off. You could say just pretty flat at this racetrack. We got 9 degrees of banking, but man, it's all about positioning, how you enter the corner. Do you take the low line? I think you're going to see guys all over this racetrack this afternoon. That track description is brought to you by Craftsman.
Let's take a look at our race analysis. You see this race is 175 laps, just a little over 175 miles. Stage 1's 55, stage 2 is 55. Our final stage will be 65 laps. You see our pit window 75 to 80. That means the possibility of flipping these stages for some of those guys with a lot of points already. They can stop before the end of the stage and make it either to the next stage or to the finish line. And you see Grant Enfinger was the guy that won this race, Mikey, as you mentioned last year.
And there will be some flipping going on, Phil.
Yes.
They're going to flip like it's a Labor Day weekend hamburger grill.
What?
Place today.
Why don't we ride along with that?
What was that analogy?
Grant Enfinger, you talked about how dominant he was here last year. New team, Sierra 7 Motorsports. Jeff Stankiewicz on board as the crew chief. 10 career wins. And again, he won here last year in dominating fashion.
It's been so much fun to see this team get their legs under them. As you see Daniel Dye coming to pit road, checking his pit road speed, the race to stop suicide onboard camera. Has the low payment kings on there as well. Daniel's checking that tachometer and getting a feel for what it's going to take to maximize. And that's what these guys have to do, Phil. When they come to pit road, they're still trying to maximize every bit of the time that they can, getting on and off pit road as fast as possible.
And it's challenging to get on a pit road here at this racetrack.
I'd say that Daniel Dye is the most improved driver from 2023 to 2024. And he's one of 4 second-year drivers that are involved in the playoffs. No sophomore slump for this group. And you look at Nick Sanchez, he was in the playoffs last year, right? He was Rookie of the Year, had an unbelievable first campaign full-time in the Truck Series, but he's even bettered himself by not only getting back to the playoffs, he's won twice here in his second season.
Yeah, so much better this year. And as you mentioned, really good last year, so much better this year.
And you know, we had an announcement down in Daytona about Daniel going to the Xfinity Series full time with Colleague Racing next year. And I said, how did you get so much better? He said, I upped my effort. I put more into my game. I study more tapes. I watch what the telemetry tells me to do. All the data I can consume, I do all that work, and that's those results are showing that.
Yeah, talking to one of his owners, Bill McAnally, he talks about the amount of effort that Daniel Dye has put in this year. It's great to see.
And we talk about second-year drivers and some bad news for Raja Caruth, winner earlier this year at Las Vegas, that put him in the playoffs. Unfortunately, an unapproved adjustment. So after qualifying 8th yesterday, 71 drops to the rear, and he'll have some ground to make up. Certainly a truck to watch once we go green this afternoon.
Yeah, as
Be a
Michael,
candidate to flip the stage
Oh,
if
yeah.
the caution comes out at the right time.
as Michael said, he despite what Grant Enfinger was able to do last year, restarting 14th late and going to the win, it is a difficult racetrack to pass on.
But you also see various grooves, you know, guys really trying to eat that bottom up, but also sliding up to the middle and even higher on the turn. So there are opportunities if your truck's better than the guys you're chasing.
Again, what's odd to me is there's newer pavement on the bottom of the racetrack, and that seems to be a little slipperier than the older pavement outside of that.
I love this angle right down on the racetrack. Grant Enfinger is going to bring us some great shots. It's time for the
All right, lights are out on the pace truck, and we are going to begin the playoffs right here at the Milwaukee Mile this afternoon. Pace truck pulls to pit road, and your pole sitter Ty Majeski will lead the field to the green. He has elected the inside lane for this initial start. We're underway at the Milwaukee Mile on a Sunday afternoon. Easily clear into the first turn are each of the 2 cars on the inside lane. Tanner Gray did not fire off very well at all, and he may be in danger of losing third to Nick Sanchez as well. Second place was quickly occupied by Christian Eckes, and the pole sitter Ty Majeski is easily going to be able to lead lap 1. Tanner Gray trying to cover the outside of Corey Heim before he loses any more spots. Opening lap, Gray goes from 2nd to 5th. Motored by 4 playoff drivers there on that initial start. And Heim quickly to the inside of Nick Sanchez, rather, for 3rd place. A little slide job maneuver by Heim. And holds clear off the exit of turn 2. Still got a great drive off despite how deep he drove it on corner entry. And the 2 was not able to back the corner enough to even to get alongside of him off the exit of the corner. Some fresher asphalt down to the very bottom groove of the racetrack to try and give these drivers more of a possible passing opportunity and potential multi-groove racing here at the Milwaukee Mile. But a lot of these drivers try to run above that fresher asphalt on the outside lane. Of course, that helps you get a straighter exit on the turn off of the corner, which could equate to more straightaway speed. Some of them hooking the left sides on it only. Grant Enfinger trying to complete a pass on Daniel Dye for position. That battles for 9th place on the racetrack right now. They're side by side into turns 1 and 2, and they were on the other end of the track in 3 and 4 as well. That last time by. Already on lap 4, Majeski has led the first 3. 0.6 of a second ahead of Christian Eckes right off the rip. Corey Heim is 2.5 back in 3rd. Nick Sanchez 2.4 seconds back in 4th to Tanner Gray. After losing all 4 spots on the first lap of the race, still sits in 5th as he's 2.6 seconds off the lead. And also, I've got my days all mixed up now with the Cup race last night and the truck race today. Now it feels like a Saturday. It feels like a Saturday afternoon, not a Sunday. Lane Riggs trying to get by the 9 truck of Grant Enfinger as well. Be interesting to see if Enfinger's going to keep sliding backwards or if he's got more of a long run truck and is taking care of his tires early in the run on this abrasive asphalt. A little contact between Riggs and Enfinger, and Gray slides the rear tires off turn 2 just behind him as well. That slide from Gray is going to cost him a spot to Bailey Curry. Curry to the outside and clears the 17. The 17 slide in the middle of the corner again through 3 and 4. And contact on the front stretch. Matt Crafton cleared the 17 when he wasn't clear and nearly hooked himself into the outside wall on the exit of turn 4. I don't know how Crafton never made contact with the wall, but it definitely joggled up the outside lane just a little bit. Definitely some close calls. I didn't realize Gray actually got into the left rear corner panel of Riggs on the exit of turn 2 when he made that first slide. So that's why he got loose the first time. The second time, he just seemed to have overdrove the corner a little bit. I don't think Crafton realized they were 3 wide either, because when he made the contact with Gray and almost turned himself into the wall, it looked like the 41 of Bailey Curry might have gotten squeezed into the wall himself after contact with the side panel on the right side of the 17 truck of Gray. Ty Majeski's pulled out to a 1.1 second lead in this race here in the early going. Sammy Smith looking to the inside of the 41 now as well. Definitely see the left front fender crinkled on the 41 of Curry's race truck right around the tire. And the letters are rubbed off of the tire as well, the Goodyear lettering. Hopefully it doesn't cause a puncture. So we continue to stay green through these first 10 laps. Yeah, there's definitely a tire rub. There's a little bit of smoke off the exit of turn 4 that last time for Curry. Seems like when he's in the process of turning through the corners when the tire seems to be rubbing on that fender, and he may have to make an unscheduled stop on the pit road to keep that tire from getting cut, causing more problems than bringing out our first caution. Corey Heim got the 3rd place pretty quickly, but doesn't seem to have anything for the top 2 at right now's moment. 75 laps in the final stage later on today, but 55 in the first 2. Making up this 175 lap distance for today's race. Commercial break. Full screen on Fox Sports 1. We'll go through the full field running order here in the early going. Again, only lap 11. Ty Majeski with a 1.1 second lead over Christian Eckes. Corey Heim is in 3rd. Nick Sanchez 4th. Caden Honeycutt in 5th. Tanner Gray 6th. William Sawalich in 7th. Tyler Ankrum 8th. Daniel Dye 9th. And Lane Riggs is in 10th. Grant Enfinger in 11th. Matt Crafton 12th. Ben Rhodes 13th. Taylor Gray 14th. Sammy Smith 15th. 16th is Jake Garcia. Dean Thompson 17th, Matt Mills 18th, Chase Purdy 19th, and Ty Dillon is 20th. Stuart Friesen 21st, Jack Wood 22nd, Connor Jones 23rd, Raja Carew 24th, Brett Holmes 25th, Marco Andretti 26th, Timmy Hill 27th, Matthew Gould 28th, Wallace Allen 29th, and Dexter Bean 30th. Mesa Maggio 31st, Thad Moffitt 32nd, 33rd for Spencer Boyd, Justin Carroll 34th, Jason Alexander 35th, and Bailey Curry did make an unscheduled pit stop during this green flag run, and that was because of, again, that contact around the left front fender causing a rub on the left front tire. So he did make his unscheduled stop. He is now currently 2 laps down, and the only car off the lead lap on lap 13. We did stay green through that transition. NASCAR street race in San Diego might be a few years out still. I didn't hear anything about that. I mean, I've always liked the Milwaukee Mile. I like watching those standalone Busch and truck races back in the day. Especially being in the summer months, too. The night races. I will say this track does look more bare bones during the day than what it does at night. Since the Truck Series started going back to Milwaukee, they've only been running in the daytime. ARCA ran their race earlier this afternoon before this Truck Series race as well. And if it's anything like the weather that I have here in Northwest Ohio today, it could be very hot in Milwaukee this weekend as well. I'm not entirely sure on what the weather is there. It was a high of 93 here. Muggy. I had a golf scramble earlier this morning. And by the end of it, it was starting to get a little warm there around 1 o'clock-ish when we finished it up. Still 1 second lead. Majeski and Eckes are kind of trading fast lap times. That last lap about a tenth quicker for Majeski, but Christian really the only one keeping close proximity. Eckes has probably been the best overall short track racer this season, but again, these last couple of weeks on these more worn out short track surfaces, Ty Majeski's really taken shape at both IRP and Richmond. Another worn out surface, flat track here, and seems to be Majeski's strong suit. He's got a couple of wins on this style of racetrack, and it's very reminiscent to what happened back in 2022 when he went out and won a couple races in a row in the regular season finale playoff opener, and Richmond added in there late in the regular season for this year. That's only helped Majeski here in recent weeks. Majeski's just getting into lap traffic at the back of the field now. Jason Alexander, Justin Carroll, Spencer Boyd, Thad Moffitt all about to go lap down. Lap 17 in this one. Didn't take long on this 1 mile racetrack. A lot of tire fall off already. A 30.808 was the fastest lap ran by Majeski, and it was the fastest lap overall in the day. Averages of a speed of 118.606 miles per hour. That was back on lap 2. And as we're at lap 17, that last lap he just ran was already a second and a half, make that 2.5 seconds slower than his fastest lap. It's an insane amount of fall off, 2.5 seconds at just 17 laps. So any cautions we get in today's race, we're more than likely going to see pit stops, which could definitely make for an interesting strategy. But if we don't get any cautions for fuel purposes, they can go to the end of stage 1 without having to pit. Same for stage 2 and stage 3. Already at lap 20 here in stage 1, even with the pace falling off, with running all green thus far, and down to only 35 laps to go in stage number 1. Yeah, Majeski fastest lap that time. Again, just kind of trading back and forth with Eckes. Caden Honeycutt was actually the second fastest truck on track in 5th place the last time by, but he's over 6 seconds off the lead. Probably just had the cleanest air of anybody at the front of the field. Honeycutt now the fastest truck on the track that last lap, so a little bit quicker. Majeski's flipped now back to the fastest again. Honeycutt's got some speed in that 45 truck, and we've seen several drivers have good runs in the 45 so far this season. Obviously, Chastain getting a win earlier in the year at Charlotte. But Honeycutt's had some good runs in that car, and so is Kyle Weatherman, I believe, has driven that truck a couple times, if I'm not mistaken. Bunch of part-time drivers in the Nice Motorsports machine. And again, they're racing for the owners' playoffs, so still a championship to go for there. And right now, they're beating a lot of other playoff regulars, both for owners and for the actual driver standings as we run. Christian Eckes outside 3 wide of a couple lap trucks, and he's definitely closed the gap on Majeski here. Gonna have a battle for the lead shortly. Eckes running just a little bit wider in the center of the corner than what Majeski is. And Nick Sanchez has actually caught Corey Hyman lap traffic and looking to make a pass for 3rd. Got to his inside, but couldn't hold it there off the exit of turn 2. Sanchez charges the corner a little bit harder than the 11, but he waits so much longer to get back to the gas, where Corey Heim maybe could be getting it to the gas a little too soon. Could be dealing with a tighter race truck. Each of these two definitely taking different ways to try to navigate around this racetrack. Those walls come up very tightly off the exit of the corner as well. Xfinity playoffs start, not for a few races yet. I think they still have 4 more races until the playoffs for the Xfinity series. Yeah, they have a few weeks. I think Bristol's the regular season finale for the Xfinity series. Lap 25, 20 laps to go in stage 1 at the Milwaukee Mile. Again, this Craftsman Truck Series race is on Fox Sports 1 if you're wondering for visual purposes where you can watch. 150 laps to go still in this longer event. Ty Majeski with a 7/10 of a second lead back over Christian Eckes again. Eckes got to within a few tenths of him. Falling back just a little bit more. Corey Heim is 5.3 seconds off the lead in third. Nick Sanchez 5.8 seconds back in fourth. Fifth place is Caden Honeycutt. He is 5.7 seconds off the lead. 8.3 seconds back is Tanner Gray in sixth. William Sawalich is 9.8 seconds off the lead in seventh. Tyler Akram 11.1 seconds back in eighth. Rookie Lane Riggs up to ninth place. He's 12.5 seconds off the lead. And 13 seconds back is Daniel Dye in 10th. Having another good start to a race is Dye. I mean, the switch definitely flipped on that 43 team. Started having good speed on a weekly basis or racely basis, I guess. The Truck Series having a lot more off weeks, of course. Right around the halfway point of the regular season, they really started to click off some really good runs. Consistently top 10 speed. Kind of in that like 6th to 12th place speed on most given weeks. Here and there is able to snatch out a top 5 in those races with late race restarts if he can nail those. And he's done a great job this year. Staying out of trouble, of course, is also huge. Just the eye test alone, you can tell he's running a lot better this season than what he was last year. He was probably getting into more incidences last year because he was running further back in the pack. Running up in the top 10, you're not going to run into those issues as much, especially in these lower series with the lack of development, I guess you would say. I don't know if development's the right word. The lack of longevity, I guess, that a lot of these drivers have under themselves. Racecraft. Just because a lot of them are younger and haven't been racing as long as the guys in the upper series. In Xfinity Series, it seems like there's a lot more regulars and some of those underfunded teams that have been running in the Xfinity Series for a while. And of course, in the Cup Series, large majority of them have been there for 5+ seasons. Sanchez has been working on Corey Heim for quite some time. I mean, it's 2 trucks at the front of the field, Majeski and Eckes, and then it's the rest of them well behind. Already just 26 trucks on the lead lap. We're only 30 laps into this, and already Marco Andretti at 27th as the first truck 1 lap down. Make that up. Matthew Gold just went a lap down in 26 that last lap. Obviously, no pit stops have been made yet. Guy was able to get by Lane Riggs during the commercial break for 9th. I believe that was the only pass in the top 10 during that side-by-side commercial break that took place moments ago. Raja Karutu had to start at the tail end of the field in this one, still in the lead lap, and is up to 20th. He slowly moves himself forward through the running order. Majeski's slowly starting to grow a gap between himself and Eckes in second. 1.8 seconds is the lead now, and I think that's really as big as it has been through these first 32 laps of stage 1. Definitely a good run going for Ty so far.
talk about Tim. And a couple laps ago, he was in the top 5 on speed. So that's how competitive this Truck Series field is.
Here you can see how high these trucks are running. It's so strange for me, Phil, to see that pressure page out there. People just say, "Ah, not for me."
It doesn't seem right, does it?
There you can see those Tricon garage trucks. Solid performance so far. Really keep my eye on William Swallish after his ARCA run today, and his lap times are right there. He's running in the 7th position.
I know he's only 17, so he should be full of energy and in great shape. But the high temperature today in Milwaukee, right around 90 degrees. So double duty, as hard as you have to work inside these vehicles, could be a bit of a challenge for Sawalish later in the afternoon. We'll keep it up for him. Great start, though.
You know, these crew chiefs and engineers are furiously looking at what they can do to make their trucks better during this first break here.
Taylor Gray fighting along, got Dean Thompson right behind him. There you see Ben Rhodes. Spoke to Ben here before the race started, and optimistic, I think cautiously optimistic. Didn't have a great day yesterday, but the 99 is rolling right along in the 13th position.
I would say on a day like today, that's where, and really, as you look at where they are entering the playoffs below the cut line, that's where championship experience really means something when you talk about Ben Rhodes. And I mentioned earlier, Daniel Dye, maybe the most improved driver, 23 to 24.
Close second right here.
I'd say Tyler Anker.
Yes.
He is done. First year driving for McAnally Hilton has been very impressive.
Sure has. Just piled up the top 5s earlier in the season. Went through a bit of a lull. Really not of his making. We had some trouble then, and then turned it on here at the very end to solidify his spot in the playoffs.
Isn't it cool to see him get it turned around, though? Because we know how good he was early in the season, but then it went away. They're able to rebound right now when it matters. As we look at Daniel Dye with his onboard camera, slipping to the outside of the 04 truck there. Listen to that throttle. Listen, watch his hands, too.
Watch how gingerly he's on this throttle down. You want to go, but you can't. He's almost straight before he gets full throttle up off the corner. Waving to let the competitor know that he appreciated him giving him room.
Yeah, went around the 04 Marco Andretti. Making his 4th start of the year in the Truck Series. Also went around Dexter Bean, Wisconsin native, making his first Truck Series start since 2009.
We have 2 drivers in this field that were in that last race prior to last year that we'd run here in 2009. Dexter Bean is one of them.
And the other, it's a layup. Not Michael.
I grabbed it.
Yes, exactly.
Why did you ask me if it was
I wouldn't have asked you live on the air if it wasn't a layup. I don't like to do that to you. It's a layup for Majeski right now. He's out front.
All right, here we go. Lap 40 in this one. Ty Majeski, your race leader. 16 laps to go in this first stage yet. Again, your top 10 currently Ty Majeski, the race leader. Christian Eckes in second. Corey Heim third. Nick Sanchez fourth. Caden Honeycutt in fifth. Tanner Gray 6th, William Sawalidge 7th, Tyler Ankrum 8th, Daniel Dye 9th, and Lane Riggs is in 10th. 17.5 seconds the difference between 1st and 10th right now. Just over 20 minutes from the drop of the green flag to where we're at, still caution free. Again, lap 55 will be the stage 1 end. And our average race speed is 110.77 miles per hour. And our pole sitter, Ty Majeski, has led every lap so far. For some reason on this raw feed, it's gotten all the cautions from the Cup race on here. I had it on the right side of the screen, right above where my camera was earlier, but now it's like all at the bottom of the screen. We'll take our first ad break of this one. You're listening live to the Milwaukee Mile Craftsman Truck Series race. The Liuna 175 right here on KRC. Down to just 24 trucks on the lead lap now. And there's real, I mean, He could still lap quite a few more trucks. At the pace he's running at right now, and you consider the fact that there are, I mean, even Raja Kruth in 20th place is still within 5 seconds of where Majeski is on track right now. I think Majeski's going to get right around to where Garcia and Kruth are in the running order. I don't know if he's going to be able to lap both of them before the end of the stage or not. Probably be able to lap Garcia. I don't know if he's going to be able to lap Kruth. Kruth is the last running of the 10 playoff drivers. Again, he did have to drop to the rear of the field before the start of this race. Unapproved adjustments following pre-race inspection earlier today. Dave Martz, thanks for tuning in. NASCAR Penske Cup Series Racing also thanks for tuning into the stream. No problem for being a bit late. Just appreciate you guys watching here on this Sunday afternoon. Definitely not every day you see the Truck Series running on a Sunday afternoon, but here we are. 11 to go, stage 1.
In lap traffic, able to drive to the outside. Time Majeski here is out, but in turn 2.
Did he make it 4 wide here? These lap trucks. Watch this one. Watch that 19 Napa truck.
That's just beautiful right there. He was able to see the high side was going to work. Majeski's truck's really been fading the last few laps, and the Eckes was able to pounce and take advantage of that.
I just love the fact when you have a surface that you can run the bottom of the racetrack and you can run 4 lanes up and still find some grip.
I will say this, Eckes to me showing maturity because he just kind of laid in the weeds, let this stage play out, and when the opportunity presented itself, he pounced, and here he is in position for another stage victory. As we drop back behind him, Caden Honeycutt trying to get 4th away from Nick Sanchez.
Not a big surprise for Kate Honeycutt to be running up in the top 5.
Not at all. We saw the first time he got behind the wheel of one of these trucks, he was so competitive that you just felt like that he was going to be a guy that win a race this year. That's how good he's been. You could see he was able to run to the inside of Nick. Nick rolled that high side really strongly and was able to keep that spot.
I think that's where the maximum grip is. It appears is the higher you go, about the 4th lane is about where the maximum grip is.
You know, you only got 20 minutes of practice yesterday. Conditions very similar to what we're seeing today. But right now is a little bit of an extension of that practice session from the standpoint of you are really learning where things will work for you, right?
And they're running 3 seconds slower than our pole speed. Amazing the fall off that these tires have here. But again, that's the surface. It's not indicative of a problem with the Goodyear tires. It's just this abrasive surface. I mean, this racetrack was built not 1903, 1800s. They started racing here in 1903, guys. It's probably not the same pavement, though.
No.
Especially that stuff on the dock bottom that they are.
That's the Daniel caution.
Uh-oh. All right, remember I said flippers? Get your flippers ready.
Yeah, this is the opportunity.
We're going to see, I think, a couple of our leaders possibly come to pit road.
I think so, too. The guys that really aren't that concerned about points.
It'll be interesting to see because there's so much fall off. Maybe they decide they'll keep those tires until the break just so they have those fewer laps. I think it's a toss-up.
Or it's an opportunity, really, maybe to put tires on now and drive your way back up into the top 10 if a lot of people don't stop.
21 is Jason Alexander. Got away from him, popped the wall ever so slightly, but enough to produce our first caution of the day.
Yeah, comfortably in the window that these teams would be able to make it to the end of the second stage if they stop early before the end of this first stage.
I think we're going to see a mixed bag. I'm just predicting.
Yeah.
It's my opinion. I've learned, that's what I'm saying. That's my opinion that we're going to see a mixed bag. Not we're going to see, because then as soon as you say that, the crew chiefs will do something different on pit road and that you didn't see coming.
Yeah, and here's where it could be an advantage as we have 21 trucks on the lead lap. Right now, outside the top 10 of our playoff drivers, we have Enfinger and Taylor Gray, Ben Rhodes, and Raja Kruth. They have the advantage of watching the first 10 trucks in front of them and what they do, and they can decide after that. Your crew chief may say, hey, if over half the front 10 come in, then you come in, or you stay out, whatever the case may be.
But remember the fall off we saw at Richmond and how guys that pitted got back inside the top 10. Heck, with only 21 trucks on the lead lap, Phil, I don't know if they start pitting, you better all pit because you're not going to be able to finish in the top 10 because of your tires. We talked about it 3 seconds off. I think that maybe most all of them come.
I think that'd be a good move.
Mentioned 21 trucks on the lead lap. There'll be 22 when we add Brett Holmes. He'll get the free pass here. First truck 1 lap down.
He was racing Stuart Friesen pretty aggressively for that spot. Was able to get it away from Friesen.
Here we are, race 1 of the playoffs. So let's take you through where we will go.
We're
as
gonna
we head
fly.
toward Phoenix
We're gonna fly.
at a championship.
How about that? Bristol in the playoffs in this first round.
And then we're going to go Kansas, and what a racy racetrack this has become. They're going to be 4 wide all over this racetrack.
Elimination race at Kansas. We open the round of 8, Talladega,
No
where
wild-
anything can
No
happen.
wild cards there at Talladega for sure.
And another racy mile and a half. Homestead, Miami.
And the elimination race that determines the championship 4. How about a Friday night in Martinsville, Virginia?
It's about as flat as this racetrack too.
I
1/2 mile.
I cannot wait to get to Martinsville. You talked about Talladega being a wild card. I think the smallest track is the one as well.
And we'll wrap the season and crown a champion at Phoenix Raceway. Pit road going to be open. They'll come if they do with 4 to go in the stage.
I'm a race fan, Phil, and I'm really excited to see what these crew chiefs tell their drivers they want to do. Pit, 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 I think.
Yeah, I've got to believe with Rajah Caruth with the fact that he had to start at the back. I think well, here they come.
Pit, 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 pit.
Yeah.
And here they are, Heather.
And Mark Philbin, the crew chief for Tyler Ankrum, said, hey, we're going to do whatever the leaders do. If they split, then it's going to be up to you. But we saw the leaders come in, so the 18 in his box now. He's just saying he's really tight, even with the fans off. So they're going to go 2 up on the track bar, 4 tires at Sunoco Field. Jamie Howe?
You're up to the top 3, starting off with Corey Heim running 3rd. He said he was pushing pretty hard there in those opening stages, but it just got too tight. He couldn't push any harder, so they're going to adjust some air pressures, give him some better fire off, going up to the number 98, led 42 of those opening laps. And he said, I can turn better, but he said, I can't commit as well as what Christian Eckes can do. So they're making some adjustments for him. And then for Christian, he was pretty tight early on, but it really started to come to him at the end. So just a couple of slight adjustments. Christian said that he's got a good truck. He's pretty happy with it, guys.
Lead lap trucks stay on the racetrack. Christian Eckes comes in the leader, and he's the first off pit road. Back with the restart in a moment.
All right, here we go. Only 4 laps to go as of right now. By the time we get back to racing, I think we'll have 2 laps left in stage number 1. And then, of course, we'll have that stage caution coming out immediately after, waiting to see who all maybe stayed out of the pits, maybe saved a set of tires compared to those who did just come onto pit road. Quite a few trucks took the wave around. That's not surprising, knowing that we were only going to have to go a couple more laps. So we'll be able to stay on the lead lap and then pit for fresh tires during the next stage end. Yeah, I expect there to be only 2 laps left. Yeah, green-white checker for the stage 1 win. And again, points awarded for those top 10 positions. A lot of playoff drivers have been running just inside the top 10 here today. Again, 10 drivers in the playoffs for the owners in the Drivers' Championship. On our screen, it looks like Ty Dillon and Jake Garcia might have stayed out of the pits. I'll have to wait and see if that's actually the case. I don't expect them to be able to hold on in front of the field. I think their strategy is, they'll take 2-lap fresher tires essentially during the stage end. Assuming that, of course, they stay out of trouble and don't get ran over too terribly here. Because they're going to be much slower. Again, we saw after just over 15 green flag laps, about a 2.5 second fall off, and they fell off even more, obviously, after that. It's just the first caution, the first chance for a lot of these teams to take tires. I would imagine the teams that did pit during this caution are not going to pit during the stage end coming up very soon. I'd be shocked if they do. Even some of the teams at the back of the field, back of the lead lap, I don't expect them to try that kind of a strategy, considering the fact that, you know, we don't know how the cautions are going to lay out the rest of the race. These teams only have a specific number of sets of tires that they have to go on the race trucks as well. They haven't gone green yet, so it looks like we're only going to have one lap for the restart. And it sounds like Corey Heim might have been speeding on pit road.
But before he gets to, when he gets to the timing line, actually the first and the second sections, he's speeding.
Yeah. All right, so through multiple segments on pit road, Corey Heim speeding through the first two. And this is going to take him out of a position to get any stage points here. And now we're on the final lap of the stage.
In the stage,
Oh, wow.
we're not going to get it in stage one.
Oh, man.
And under caution. And the two drivers that stayed out, Ty Dillon, Jake Garcia, are going to benefit here.
That's the first stage win for Todd Dillon, and he's had a fast truck during the course of this race. He drove up to the top 10.
Yeah.
So great strategy there, played it out. It was going to be a terrible strategy if the green flag comes out, but it didn't.
We had this stat before we went to break, and that is that Christian Eckes has not finished outside the top two in a stage since Charlotte in May.
Oh, this doesn't
He's gonna
count.
finish third here in stage one.
That is hard to believe.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, really hard to believe. But it shows the season that Eckes and Corey Heim both have had. Remember, we talk about Eckes winning the regular season championship. Corey Heim lost 54 points at Charlotte when he was disqualified for having too many missing lug nuts. So that battle would have been a lot closer than it was.
If he had won that stage, would have been his 9th stage victory of the year. He doesn't get the win, but he does finish third, and he will be the man in charge when we go green in stage two. And we'll have that.
Well, it sounds like we weren't going to get a restart there. Usually NASCAR doesn't open pit road if they don't think that we're going to get a restart, or if they would open pit road knowing that we're going to get a restart in. I was expecting there to be 2 laps to go. I don't know why there was so much cleanup to be had there. They opened pit road up with, what, 5 to go in the stage? 6 to go in the stage? I don't know how they didn't get the field lined up in time, honestly. There was 4 laps to go. If they would have gotten the 1 to go the next time by at 3 to go, then they would have had 2 laps left. So even not getting the 1 to go that time by, if they would have gotten 1 to go the next time, then they still could have had a 1-lap dash. But that hurts those playoff drivers that were, of course, up at the front of the field. And the speeding penalty you think about with Corey Heim, too. Pit road wasn't even open at that point. He would have ended up third. Instead, he's back at 22nd, so no stage points for Corey. Ty Dillon goes on to win his first stage of the season in the Craftsman Truck Series. Jake Garcia second in stage 1. Christian Eckes third. Ty Majeski fourth. Nick Sanchez fifth. Lane Riggs sixth. Daniel Dye seventh. Tanner Gray 8th, Taylor Gray 9th, and Tyler Ranker rounds out the top 10. All right. So our first caution bleeds into the end of stage 1 here. Caution struck initially with 7 laps to go in the stage, so that would have been about lap 48. A very lengthy yellow for a single truck incident. Wasn't too hard of a hit into the wall either. Still knocked Jason Alexander out of the race. But when I mean it wasn't that hard of a hit into the wall, there shouldn't have been a whole lot of cleanup. Definitely shocking. That might be the first time I think I've ever seen a situation where they open pit road anticipating a restart, don't get the restart in. And that takes a playoff point away from Christian Eckes as well. I'd be upset if I was Eckes. Takes a playoff point away. It takes 2 points away. Or he would have won the stage if they just didn't open pit road. Can you imagine if Ty Dillon or Jake Garcia were in the playoffs and they were able to get like 9 or 10 free points off of that? And they're going to lose all their track position, which they would have anyway on that last strategy. They just get more points along the way with it. Ty Dillon's now on pit road.
Cowboys, Browns, September 8th, only on Fox.
But no,
Doesn't that music just get you juiced for a little football?
won't be long.
We had week 0 this weekend for college, so some good games yesterday, and we'll just ease right into it.
Little action.
There's American Family Field. in the
Oh, I didn't
distance.
realize the Milwaukee Mile was like that
Now
close.
Central leading Brewers.
I went past that stadium before when I went to Road America
That's all I don't have. It's
a couple of years ago.
There's the stage point breakdown, and this is something that is huge as we look throughout the playoffs and who's gaining what they need to advance. Christian Eckes, I'm not sure he needed to put more money in the bank, but he did finish third, got 8 stage points, and Ty Majeski right there with him. They'll be on the front row for the restart here in stage 2 as both Dillon and Sanchez, or excuse me, Garcia have now made their pit stop.
Remember, Daniel Dye was below the cut line, 4 points during that stage.
Come to the start finish line and choose her up.
Well, you're a little surprised, as dominant as the outside is, that Christian Eckes took the inside.
Oh no, I think when you get that leap, you know, you can
Starts
start
down
hard,
two tires.
some new tires, and try to get yourself in a position to have that nose out ahead of the guy that's second, and then you can just wash up a little bit. You don't want to be too obvious with it, but you can kind of wander up the hill a little bit, and take that groove away.
To go back to the start of the race, Majeski on the pole takes the inside lane, and that wasn't always the case here last year on
Sure
restart.
wasn't.
So
It was not.
I was a little surprised at that, even though we didn't draw attention to it. And then once he jumped right out front off turn 2, there was no need to make mention.
All
of
the
it.
cars parked on the back straightaway.
Way up the hill, so I'm gonna be curious.
Looks
to
like
see
a nightmare
as
to
long
get
as
out of.
Majeski Gets a good run. What kind of grip he's going to have down there in 1 to 2. Again, new tires, low air pressure for all these trucks. Right?
Oh my gosh, dude, this is a lengthy
Last
caution.
lap here.
What are we?
We still had some trucks on pit road when we were doing the choose, so got to let everything cycle through. Majeski started on the pole today, led the first 42 laps. Eckes took the lead away from him, and lap traffic led the next 11. Caution came out, front runners pit. Ty Dillon takes over. He's led 6 laps today. Let's get a couple of updates from pit road. We start with Jamie.
See Daniel Dye there, that number 43, running inside of the top 6 right now. And for Daniel, he had this race circled as one that wasn't a throwaway, but it's one that he's not really looking forward to. Why? Well, because it's so flat. He feels like as a driver, he doesn't get very good feedback. They don't make very good changes. He put a lot of thought into that in practice and qualifying yesterday, and they've been able to steadily make some progress here. So even though he didn't have high expectations, today is certainly turning things around for that young driver. Heather?
And for Ben Rhodes in that first run, he said he was just a little tight, so the team took some wedge out and did an air pressure adjustment. But with somewhat of a concern here for the 99 during the last run, that truck completely shut off on him. Now, it only happened once. So as crew chief Doug Radnoff said, if we had an issue with an alternator, it would have got worse. If we were having a fuel pressure issue, it would have gotten worse. But something we'll keep an eye on here with the 99.
Few trucks took the wave around to get back on the lead lap, most notably Stuart Freese and Connor Jones. Chase Purdy.
Oh my goodness. More caution laps. You got another truck stalled out.
A caution that won't ever end, Phil. Yeah, thought we were going to go back racing to end the stage. That didn't happen, and now we just want to go back racing.
It's going to turn into about a 15-lap caution.
Oh my gosh.
Going to get a shootout to end stage 1. We might get one to end stage 2 right here, you know.
Sorry,
Dexter Bean from Wisconsin stopped on track.
I just kind of wanted to say Dexter Bean and stepped on.
But you got it out.
Yeah, I did. He's from Wisconsin, and now he's got his truck fired back up.
Oh my
Those
gosh.
trucks that took the wave around. We're gonna have 28 trucks. They get 27 trucks on the lead lap when we go back green. We did get the one to go there. Drove around Dexter Bean, and this time we're gonna go green. How about it?
Hopefully.
Yeah.
We
I
feel
don't
good
believe
about
it till I see
The
it.
lights are out on the safety truck. Everybody seems to be lined up in a uniform fashion. I think it's all set, Adam.
What can Majeski do with Eckes?
Look who's lurking there in third. We talk about his prowess on the short tracks. Lane Riggs has creeped into inside of row 2.
Quiet kid, quietly performing today is Lane Riggs.
Great pit work too by that crew.
That will be a factor throughout the afternoon. Front row for the restart. Eckes and Majeski. 19 in control as we begin the second stage here at Milwaukee.
Got a bit of a nose out on Majeski for Eckes. Makes it work. Slides up like I mentioned, and here comes on the inside Lane Riggs. He's going to grab that second spot.
How about that inside line working for these guys?
I got 2 words for you. Playoff spoiler. Lane Riggs, top 5 for the last 7 races. First time he's been to Milwaukee, and he is showing out in the 38.
Tanner Gray doing well is also running the 5th spot behind Sanchez.
Yeah, Tanner qualified front row, drifted back 6th, 7th, but he's right back up there inside the top 5, and right behind him is brother Taylor Gray, who spent a good portion of stage 1 outside the top 10. But here he is in the 17.
Not a surprise to see that yellow 88 of Matt Craftsman right against the inside curve there.
Yeah, he likes that bottom, and man, he's making it work too. Craftsman with a nice run here in Milwaukee.
If you're going to do it, you need to do it on new tires. I think as the tires get older and hotter, that bottom might not be as good, but Craftsman's making it work right now.
You know, and that opens other drivers and spotters' eyes. Those spotters are saying, man, Matt's making it work on the bottom. No, that's an option if you make it work.
You know Crafton's motivated, right? Because 3-time champion, missed the playoffs for the first time in his career. He'd love to come in here and win race 1. Remind everybody he's not going away.
He had a solid race here last year. Finished up in the top 10.
Drives up to the 7th position. Trying to size up Taylor Gray.
But actually, it's made Taylor Gray's truck better. And his pit crew did a nice job too. I tell you, week in, week out, the Tricon bunch, really all their trucks are among the very best in the series on pit stops.
And you know, when we talked to Taylor earlier this week at the NASCAR building, he shared with us he feels a little bit like an underdog. And he came in here with a 1-point advantage over the cut line. So just go out and let it rip. That's what he's doing today.
And you talk about the adjustments that his crew chief Jeff Hensley just made. He told Taylor just before the green flag drop, we should fire off better, and we're seeing that right now. He said the closer we get to the front, the better the turn in the center will be for us.
Again, Jeff Hensley was the crew chief for Grant Enfinger's dominant win last year. He's done such a great job over here at Tricon with Taylor Gray in this season.
Well, let's go to the other side of that, because last year, Enfinger not only won the race, but started on the pole, led 95 laps. He wins both stages. But this weekend, not near as good. Qualified outside the top 10, and they've kind of hung right there around 10th. Been somewhat of a disappointment as we go through the first portion of this race.
But watch this team make the adjustments. The experience of Grant, his knowledge of this racetrack. Watch them get better and better as this race winds down. He knows he's a veteran. He knows everything he needs to do to maximize 175 laps.
Yeah, no stage points for Grant Enfinger.
Look at him work that wheel. See all those abrupt motions with the wheel? His foot's probably, I would say it's just the opposite. He's just laying on it, squeezing it, just trying to nurse that gas pedal to the floor so he can get the power down.
It's amazing the different techniques from all these drivers. Like Corey Heim, you won't see him hardly. He'll turn the wheel a little bit left. You won't see him go back and forth like Grant Enfinger is. We watched him during practice yesterday. Same kind of situation. There's Jeff Stankiewicz, his crew chief. What a great job they've been doing here lately. Seemed like about a third of the way through the season, they just turned it up about 3 notches and have been strong ever since.
I like in the way the driver uses his steering wheel. I mean, think back to Mark Barton. He would take a hand off the wheel and wrap it all the way around to the left. It's like a golf swing. You know, some golf swings are different than others, but you can get results depending on no matter what your swing is like to a certain extent.
What's your swing like?
Let's go back to Green. He really likes to work that wheel aggressively. You mentioned it, Corey, and some of the other drivers do it a lot differently.
Eckes not able to drive away from Lane Riggs.
Yeah, he's going to try to honk the horn.
Yeah, they moved out to about a second half margin over Majeski right now, running third. How high Eckes is.
That's what I love about this track, man. You got options. Oh, playing way out wide off turn 2.
You just wonder if you can jump the cushion here. Can you get too wide?
I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't.
I guess you got to, you kind of think that's the way Riggs formed in the last 6-8 races. This is a win waiting to happen. He hasn't been really in a position like this to grab the lead, drive off and dominate. And maybe today's his day.
In finger 9, Dean Thompson in the 5. He's been strong today.
Yeah, Dean Thompson doing double duty, ran the ARCA race earlier. Got a top 10 finish.
Yeah, he's been top 10 in 3 of the last 6 races so late in the regular season. And they had too many rough rides early to overcome, try to get in the playoffs. But he has had a strong finish to the regular season and opening up the playoffs with a nice performance as well. Let's go back to Corey Heim at the speeding penalty. Restarts in the rear, but here's the 11, already back to the top 15 and working over Sammy Smith in the 7th.
He's got around Matt Mills at 42. Now he's going to heat up Sammy.
We'll keep it side by side as we go to break. Christian Eckes, the race leader, over Lane Riggs. Time adjustment.
Yep, Christian Eckes, race leader here. Lane Riggs, second. Ty Majeski, third. Nick Sanchez, fourth. Tanner Gray is the 5th place truck. We'll go through the rest of the running order here. Taylor Gray is in 6th. Matt Crafton, 7th. 8th for Daniel Dye. Tyler Anker, 9th. And Caden Honeycutt is 10th. Grant Enfinger in 11th. Dean Thompson, 12th. Ben Rhodes, 13th. Corey Heim, 14th. And Sammy Smith is 15th. 16th for Matt Mills. William Sawalich, 17th. Ty Dillon, 18th. Jake Garcia, 19th, and Roger Carruth is 20th. Jack Wood, 21st. Stuart Friesen, 22nd. Chase Purdy, 23rd. Connor Jones, 24th. Brett Holmes, 25th. Timmy Hill, 26th. And Mason Maggio, his last truck on the lead lap at 27th. 28th, Dexter Bean. Matthew Gold, 29th. Spencer Boyd, 30th. Marco Andretti, 31st. Thad Moffitt is 32nd. 33rd, Bailey Curry. Lawless Allen, 34th. Justin Carroll, 35th. And Jason Alexander, 36th. He's the last place truck. And he's the only driver out of the race today. He brought out the only caution we saw back on lap 48, which also ran into the end of stage 1. Just over 50 minutes from the start of the race to where we're at right now. A 90.61 mile per hour average race speed, still 99. And counting down laps to go, make that 98 now. And as far as the laps led race goes, Ty Majeski's led for 42 laps from the pole. Christian Eckes has led 2 times for 29 laps. And Ty Dillon led 6 laps and won stage 1 all under caution. Of course, at the end of that stage, with pit stops opening up before, of course, the stage came to an end, even though we were not able to get another restart in there. So that's how Majeski, how Ty Dillon was able to win the first stage, despite not leading a green flag lap today. Lane Riggs is keeping nice pace here with Christian Eckes. Really, it was just Eckes, Majeski pulling away from the rest of the field. Nobody else could really hang on with him. So now Lane Riggs getting better track position, maybe a good adjustment on the race truck during the first pit stop, and he's able to keep some pace here with Christian Eckes now and try to put up a little bit of a fight for the race lead.
It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon at the Wisconsin State Fair Park, live at the Milwaukee Mile playoff opener for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Christian Eckes leading, and back behind him,
Here's a mess.
Jack Wood, 99, 52, Stuart Friesen, 77, Chase Purdy.
Yeah, these guys are racing for position too, and racing hard for position.
Good. Like that 66 truck. Yeah, that's Connor Hall. Invite him to the party as well.
That's a group of drivers that took the waiver round. They could use the caution, right? And so if they're not careful, they're going to create one of their own.
See Jack Wood making a nice move to the inside of Chase Purdy. GoPro, new sponsor on board that 91 for Jack Wood.
Connor Jones. Instead of all of it Jones.
We've had a lot of Connors.
Yeah, there's Connors
Yeah,
everywhere.
Yeah.
we've had way too many
A
comments.
lot of Connors. A lot of Connors.
Yeah, I see that 91 for Jack Wood. And it reminds me of a story that Christian Eckes told us at Media Day earlier this week. And he talked about Zane Smith coming over and driving that truck early in the season. And all the experience that he brings at a championship level in a truck, and the knowledge that he transferred to this team, and what that means in their quest to go for a championship here in 2024.
Yeah, Christian said that was the most important thing they had all year long was and then the processes too, not only just his knowledge, but the process and how they do. Remember, he's a champion here in the series with Front Row Motorsports, the team that Scott Riggs' son, Lane Riggs, is driving for right now, running second. Jack doing a nice job here running up. Remember, Stuart Friesen actually got lapped, got the waiver out, got back on the lead lap. Right now, these guys battling for around the 20th spot.
Battling around the 20th spot. A couple of laps ago, I noticed the top 5 speed for Jack Wood in that 90.
Yeah,
Yeah, done a good job today, like you mentioned, Phil. Just so competitive. Lose a little bit of track position, and next thing you know, it's hard to make any progress.
Back in Alley Hilgerman Racing right there with Christian Eckes leading. Daniel Dye doing a great job running up in the top 10, as well as Tyler Ankrum. 3 trucks make the playoffs there. 3 full-time trucks make the playoffs for McNally. Bill McAnally, Hilgerman Racing.
Well, you go to a 4-truck team, you put 3 of them in the playoffs. We talked about the improvements for both Dye and Ankrum. And Eckes wins the regular season championship, and he's got 3 victories. I mean, they're checking all the boxes.
Well, flip that. Have a guy like Jeff Hensley on the box. These veteran crew chiefs can figure out ways to help things as well. Listening to the input from their drivers, even if they are inexperienced, they can hear what the driver's saying and they can make changes appropriately.
Remember, we reported new crew chief for Tanner Gray as we take a look at Rajah Caruth getting by Jake Garcia. Jason Burdett calling the shots now for Tanner Gray, 18-time winner in the Xfinity Series with JRM.
Rajah up to 18th now, Heather.
And an area of improvement for him this season that he's been working on is the short tracks. He told me that he's proud of himself, though, on the gains that he's made as far as being disciplined. But right now, his spotter telling him they're getting beat in the center of the corner. Now, these corners are completely different, so it's quite the challenge for these drivers to hit their marks each time around each circuit.
Look how high he goes. Man, that's about as high as we've seen. You mentioned jumping the cushion, Phil, which is something that we usually will see on a short track like this, but so far, it looks like you go all the way up to the wall.
Ty Majeski up to 2nd. Went by Lane Riggs to get that runner-up spot.
Wow.
Wow. It's tight.
22 truck. And Jeske's able to take advantage of it, grab that 2nd spot.
Bit of a squeeze play there. And look at the distance that Majeski has put on Riggs.
Here comes Sanchez.
And all of a sudden, that 38 that was so strong to begin the stage going in the wrong direction. Lost 2nd, now 3rd, and looking in the rearview mirror at Nick Sanchez, who's strong in the 2 today.
It's got to be a good feeling for Nick. Having the kind of speed to run up there and see. Check on them leaders, if you will.
About 20 laps away from the end of this stage. Looks like maybe Dylan Capello, the crew chief for Lane Riggs. He knows what that truck will do now on this kind of a run. Might have to make some changes so that truck will last a little bit longer. Remember, a little bit longer 3rd stage than both 1st and 2nd stage. 65 laps for stage 3.
For Lane Riggs, qualified outside the top 15 to be running top 5 late stage 2. Pretty good spot to be in. Christian Eckes leads, 21 to go. Second stage at Milwaukee.
All right, there you have it. 21 laps to go. Stage 2 at the Milwaukee Mile as of right now. Current race leader Christian Eckes, he's 1.5 seconds ahead of Ty Majeski. Lane Riggs is 2.9 seconds back in third. Nick Sanchez 3.3 seconds back in fourth, and Taylor Gray in fifth is 6.6 seconds off the lead. 26 trucks on the lead lap at this point. Again, a 93.31 mile per hour average race speed, just under an hour from the start of the race to where we are right now. Only caution at lap 48 for incident that bled into the end of stage 1. And as of this next lap, Christian Eckes will have exceeded Ty Majeski's lap led total to lead the most laps of the race. There you have it. Christian Eckes 43 laps led, 42 for Majeski. Of course, Eckes has led one more time than Ty Majeski has. But Majeski making that pass for second as Lane Riggs was struggling through that heavier lap traffic there moments ago. And it's quickly pulled back away from him. And now Nick Sanchez is closed in a battle for third during this full screen commercial break with Riggs. And again, for position, Corey Heim, following a speeding penalty at the end of stage 1, has worked himself up to 13th place. And he's still 16 seconds off the race lead as well. We'll see if Heim can get into the top 10 before the end of this stage. It's going to be close. He's 6 seconds behind Caden Honeycutt in 10th, so the speeding penalty cost him stage points in stage 1 with not having another crack at it with that last restart. And obviously, even in the midst of this long green flag run in stage 2, Corey Heim still is not in the top 10, so he might not get any stage points here today. Looking at the chat poll here real quick, 43 votes have been casted. Ty Majeski leads the voting poll as to who you think is going to win today's race. 37% have voted for him. Of those 43 votes, 30% taking Corey Heim, 21% taking somebody other than Majeski, Heim, or Eckes, and Eckes only getting 12% of those votes right now, despite leading the race, and has led the most laps so far. Again, you have until the end of stage 2 to vote, so be sure to do so if you haven't yet.
The Milwaukee Mile, Christian Eckes out front. He's led 46 laps today. So let's play it off. He's led a lap again in a race. He's done so in every race this year. Remarkable stat. He's led over 800 laps this season. When you add what he's done here today, that's more in the rest of his career combined coming in to 2024. So very, very impressive what he's been able to do.
Kind of had a little news, Adam. I was going to drop on you, but I didn't want to bust it too early.
What's that?
I talked to Acton this morning. He said, I'm really happy with my truck. Now, if you watch the truck series, you know he never says that. And I think the last time he said it was in Nashville when he led every lap, single lap, and won the race. So, I mean, it doesn't make good TV to break that, but these guys know what they're up against when Christian Eckes says he likes his truck.
You couldn't wait for it.
I couldn't wait to share.
And I would say he's underachieving because he hasn't led every lap today.
Look at that lane.
Lane.
That you're taking.
Is that L-A-N-E or L-A-Y?
Oh, this is the answer to that. It's fun to watch, I'll tell you that. As a racer, you want options. We can see they have them today.
Sanchez would love to get that spot. Gain the stage, grab another point. See 6 of our playoff drivers right now up in the top 10 in stage point positions. And the rest of them are right there behind it. The only one outside the top 13 is Raja right now running 18.
Girl only took the trucks for Wilkesboro All-Star Weekend and how they ran all the way out next to the outside wall on a short track. These truckers, they know how to look for grip. It's a great battle.
Long complete by Nick to the inside. Unable to hold the throttle down there.
Last 4 races for Nick, only one top 10 finish. So running up toward the front and playoff time, that's really important.
Yeah, he was great here a year ago. And unfortunately, he got turned around, hit the wall. Finish he deserved. That happened late in the race, but he's come back here today and once again reminded everybody how good he is at this style of racing. And I had forgotten just how close he was at making the championship 4 a season ago as a rookie, Nick Sanchez. And we said it earlier, 2 wins in his sophomore campaign, and he has performed at a very high level. Heather?
And update of Brent Infinger. He told me that this race truck, they just haven't been able to get the balance right in practice yesterday or today. They are still struggling. So his crew chief, Jeff Stankwitz, said, hey, your entry speed looks comparable to the leaders. Well, center off is where we are lacking. So we're going to look for him to make a change at the stage right on his next pit stop. He said, we're not making any gains with what we're doing. So changing the track part upcoming for Brent Infinger. Jamie now.
An update on Corey Heimer. We saw running inside top 3. He's been able to move up 8 positions since he had that penalty for speeding on pit lane.
Still trapped in 13th, though.
Just to the stage, just to keep digging, as the track position is going to be everything in the third and final stage. They want to just keep pushing, thinking about as best they can. He was the fastest truck out on the racetrack for a couple of laps here in the middle of the second stage, but starting to follow up a little bit to the end. We're going to keep digging.
Rely on that pit group that's been so solid week in, week out. A lot of spots to gain on pit road here.
And the good news for Hine, if he can't get back to the top 10 and get some stage points here, he entered today's race plus 39. So we know what he's capable of, and that advantage gives you a little grace when you have a penalty like they did on that pit stop earlier. Down to 9, almost 3 seconds in front of Tom Majeski. Lane Riggs continues in third. Then 4 consecutive playoff drivers: Sanchez, Taylor, Daniel Dye, Tyler Ankrum, Tanner Gray, Matt Crafton, Caden Honeycutt complete the top 10.
There's 3 more playoff racers just outside the top 10. Tyler Ankrum just got around Tanner Gray to move up a spot.
Battle right there inside the top 10. See Crafton trying to get around the 15 of Tanner Gray. That's a battle for the 8th spot.
Just ahead of them, we saw Tyler Ankrum up there. Man, this is a tight race. Caden Honeycutt wanted to join this party.
Making his way around the outside of Crafton. Crafton's been running the bottom of the racetrack since we restarted this race, and he's going to grab that spot from Tanner Gray.
Just avoid there in the mix, trying to give these guys plenty of racing room. It's hard to hide this racetrack because it's over. You don't know what groove a guy's going to win. Good thing is when you catch a lapper, like Spencer, you get there, you can just pick a lane to go where he isn't.
This driver's not getting a break today. Only 1 caution, a lot of laps under green. Got to execute. And it was about this point in stage 1 when we had a caution. Jason Alexander got into the wall.
See, Grant Enfinger has joined that battle. Again, stage points available. There's Grant right there trying to move to the inside of Honeycutt. Honeycutt's trying to get underneath Spencer Boyd. Just couldn't get the throttle down, could he, Mike?
That's because I think Boyd was in the lane that Honeycutt wanted, so he squeezed down, and that forced Grant to try to squeeze down as well.
Hey, Enfinger came in 5 points above the cut line. No margin for error. You'll take every point you can get. Might need it in a few weeks' time when we head to Kansas in that elimination race. By the way, Enfinger has won at 4 of the 7 playoff races. We talked about what he did here in Milwaukee a season ago. He's won at 4 of the 7 playoff tracks. That bodes well for him if he can put all the pieces together.
Really, once you see the 45 of Honeycutt loose into the corner, slipping and sliding, I figure we'd love to grab that spot here with just 4 to go in the second stage.
He knows he can reach out, see 2 points right there in front of him.
We can go to that 56 truck right ahead of this battle. That's making it more difficult for these guys to make a moves on one another. But look at Enfinger way down to the bottom, sliding up in the middle. Has he got this spot?
He's got back in the throttle. You see Tim Hill up there. Is there going to be a truck in between them? No, he's got it. Got that spot and a point.
Enfinger to 10th with 3 laps to go on the stage.
And you think those points don't matter? Each individual point? What happened to Nick Sanchez last year, Adam?
Yeah, lost in a tiebreaker to Ben Rhodes. That was to go to the championship four.
And who won the championship?
Ben Rhodes qualified on the tiebreaker after finishing second at Talladega in Miami last year.
That was a layup, Phil.
You can ask me the hard stuff. Lap and a half to go, Brackus. Looking for his 9th stage win of 2024.
It would be his 10th if everything had gone normal at the end of stage 1.
But I'll update, he hasn't finished worse than third in a stage since Charlotte in May. Even though he finished third, it's still a very impressive stat. Final lap, stage 2 at Milwaukee.
Seven of our playoff drivers in positions here in this stage. Grant Enfinger just grabbed that last one.
Why was he the regular season champion? Because he's always at the front. For Christian Eckes, through turns 3 and 4, he's going to see that green and white checkered flag. He has won 6 of the last 10 stages, and he delivers in our second stint here at Milwaukee.
Impressive run here, Caracas.
Eckes wins it. Majeski second. Riggs into top 5. Same for Sanchez and Taylor Gray. It stops when we come back to the Milwaukee Mile.
All right, so here today, Ty Majeski second in the stage, Lane Riggs third, Nick Sanchez 4th, Taylor Gray 5th, Daniel Dye 6th, Tyler Ankrum 7th, Matt Craft at 8th, Caden Honeycutt 9th, and 10th was Grant Enfinger. Enfinger stealing that last stage point right at the end there. 95.92 mile per hour average race speed. This stage break is our second caution of the day, so we went caution free all the way through the second stage. From the time we went back to racing from the stage 1 end, 1 caution per incident, which again bled into the end of that first stage. Nobody's going to end up taking the wave around here because of the way the stage is going to be laid out. 21 trucks were on the lead lap at the end of the stage. Stuart Friesen in 22nd. First truck 1 lap down at the time of the caution. So Friesen will get back on the lead lap. 2. Asked you who you guys thought was going to win today's race at Milwaukee. 40% of you saying Ty Majeski is going to get the win. 29% with Corey Heim. 20% for other, which is somebody other than Eckes, Heim, or Majeski. And Christian Eckes only getting 11% of those votes, despite leading the most laps and currently winning stage 2. So again, Christian Eckes wins stage 2. And on the season, check to see how many stage wins that gives him now on the year. 9th stage win of the season for Eckes, which is the most in the Truck Series. So we'll be seeing our second pit stops of the race once they come back from commercial on Fox Sports 1. Again, first stage 55 laps tonight, 65 laps in each stage 2 and stage 3 to finish this one off. The fuel window is open to make it to the end of the race, but if we were to see any more cautions in the middle of stage 3, then I would imagine we'll see more pit stops because of the high amount of tire wear at this Milwaukee Mile racetrack.
Push guide.
Oh, I thought they were cutting right back to right back to coverage of the race there. A Bush ad. Usually when they run the NASCAR self-advertisements, they run right into the airing of the race immediately after. That was not the case this time. All right. So 62 laps to go under the yellow now. Hopefully this yellow doesn't last 14 laps like the last one.
Up with a huge season opener between 8th-ranked Penn State and West Virginia. With a big noon kickoff crew coming to you live from Morgantown. Don't miss the most watched game window in college football beginning Saturday on Fox.
Week 0. We're week 0 right now.
And this will be week 1, and it gets serious. We got great matchups all over the board. And a nice way to start it in Morgantown, West Virginia. Stage points handed out today. Christian Eckes padding that cushion he had coming in. Good days for Majeski, Sanchez. Much needed points for Daniel Dye and Taylor Gray.
Big pit stops coming here, Adam.
Huge pit stops. They're heading your way, Heather.
And Taylor Gray will bring it in that fifth position. He told us he felt good about the balance, just a little on the snug side, but he said the drive off is incredible. So Jeff Henson's going to give him a little bit more track bar, a little air, and restated the closer he gets to the front, the better will be. Jamie?
And go to the number 2, that is Vic Sanchez. He told his crew chief, Kevin Manning, he said, my entry feels perfect. He doesn't think he can roll with much speed, but he doesn't think it's enough that he wants to make any big changes and compromise anything. So basically 4 tires and fuel for the number 98, that is Ty Majeski. One of the things that Joe Shield Jr., his crew chief, told me is that I hate to tell you this, but I think I was off on my right front geometry. So they're having to work through that. Doesn't have quite the same speed that Christian Eckes has. For Christian, he said that he was a little bit tight at the end of that stage. That's what they were expecting in terms of the tires they put on the truck. That was another tremendous pit stop for them. And his crew chief, Charleston Ike, said, this one's going to be better. Let's just go for the win now.
Eckes has that number 1 pit stall after winning the pole at Richmond last time out. I mean, he hadn't been challenged. So impressive work there. Eckes will be the leader when we come back for the final stage.
Yeah, Eckes wins the race off pit road. Both of the sets of pit stops that we had so far in this one. Only reason he led 2 different times because Ty Dillon initially stayed out of the pits and ended up winning stage 1. But yeah, 66 laps led for Christian. He's definitely dominated this race, even though the start it looked like Ty Majeski was going to be the one to dominate. But Eckes has come away as the favorite throughout the middle going. We'll see if maybe an adjustment was made correctly for Majeski to try to get him closer to where Eckes is on the racetrack timing-wise. Majeski was second the entire stage 2. He was running a couple seconds behind him for the most part as that run began to carry on longer and longer. Yeah, stage 3 going to begin here shortly. We have 38 likes on the stream so far. Be sure to hit the like button so we can get that like counter up to 50 before the finish here. $12 likes away from 50. We'll take a quick break and then continue our live commentary coverage of the Liuna 175 here at Milwaukee for the Craftsman Truck Series. So again, Stuart Friesen got the free pass with that stage yellow coming out. 22 trucks on the lead lap to begin stage 3. Down under 60 laps to go now in this race. Wade, thanks for tuning in. Milwaukee Mile, yep. I think it's just the Milwaukee Mile. I don't think Speedway's in the name. I think it used to be, but I don't think it is anymore. I didn't think there was any live pit stops either. Usually that is the case when the Cup Series isn't in town. I don't know. Apparently we have live pit stops. I don't understand why we're doing it now, but we couldn't do it before. The only thing I could think of is because it's a playoff race, but even still, it's like, why don't we do that at other standalone events elsewhere?
Better get on the edge of your seat. Ready to go racing. Okay, get that flag there, man. It's the opening race of the playoffs as 10 drivers begin their quest for a title. In the Craftsman Truck Series, we are live at the Milwaukee Mile and all set for the final stage here. With Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons, I'm Adam Alexander, Heather DeVoe, Jamie Howe on the pit lane, Christian Eckes, the race leader, as we do the choose.
I guess, again, no surprise, goes to the bottom. It worked for him last time.
You know, Matt Crafton, that bright yellow truck's going to the bottom. We've seen him there all day.
Hey, how hard to be as dominant as the 19 is? Everybody's chasing you. Well, where's the balance on adjustment there? Because everybody else is going to make some changes because they have to if they're going to get around the 19.
And you're a little bit hesitant because that truck is so good to make any changes. I know we talked a lot about that kind of thing, but I think Charleston Ike and Christian Eckes are on the same page there. We've seen how dominant he's been. And so many great, what led over 900 laps this year?
Over 800, yeah.
Over 800. So I think they've made the right changes at the right time.
All right, getting ready to go green. We'll have 56 laps to go. Christian Eckes inside lane of the front row and Lane Riggs on the outside. Riggs the only non-playoff driver up in the top 8 positions as of right now. Green flag is going to be in the air. Good launch for Eckes, not so much for Riggs. Inside lane's been preferred quite a bit here on these restarts. Eckes sails it off deep into turns 1 and 2. Quickly goes to the outside line, but I think he drove it in too deep. And Majeski slides to the lead off turn 2. A little bit of contact made as the 98 of Majeski had squeezed the 19 of Eckes up the track, and Lane Riggs trying to do the same. One truck in the wall further back. Off the exit of turn 4, a lot of damage to the right rear corner panel of the 42 of Matt Mills. Mills dropping back. He's now outside the top 20. And Eckes from the lead on the restart goes back to 3rd. And Lane Riggs is going for the lead to the inside of the 98. Side by side. Couldn't quite stay door to door on the back straightaway, but another big run. Riggs into the back of the 98 getting into turn 3. A little bump. And Riggs trying to beat the 98 out of the outside lane off the exit of the corner. And not going to be able to do so. And here comes Eckes after that failed pass attempt by Lane Riggs through 3 and 4. Eckes is looking to take back 2nd. And out of nowhere, Corey Heim bolts upwards to 4th on the restart. And Heim's trying to make a charge at the leaders. Good battle going on right now for position as Majeski holds on again on Riggs. Riggs a little bit better in turns 1 and 2, it seems like, than Eckes. Eckes gained a lot of ground through 3 and 4 the last lap. We'll see if he does it again this lap. That contact around Matt Mills looked like Raja Cruz got into his back bumper getting into turn 3. Mills was basically sliding backwards, ended up backing it into the wall. And that corrected him back in the right direction quick enough that we did not get a caution. Riggs for the lead again. Going way up the racetrack. Trying to stay hot on the door of the 98. Dead even entering turn 3. Eckes waiting in the wings behind him. Lane Riggs to the lead through 3 and 4. The rookies out in front at Milwaukee. And Eckes slips to the inside briefly for 2nd place on Majeski, but couldn't hold on. We'll see if Eckes can start to charge forward. He was the class of the field there through stage 2. Nobody could touch him, and now he's back in traffic after losing the lead on the restart. Lost a couple positions, in fact. And how much of a gap can Lane Riggs maybe build on 2nd place? Especially as that battle continues to go on between the 98 and the 19 behind him. And as he maybe push it too hard too early in the run, if we get another long green flag run like we did in stages 1 and 2, will the 19 and the 98 catch him the longer the run goes? And the tires start to fade maybe quicker on the 38, pushing harder earlier in the run. The playoff standings, the way things look as drivers are running right now, Christian Eckes is plus 61 points, plus 45 for Corey Heim and Ty Majeski, Nick Sanchez plus 34, and only a 13-point cushion for Tyler Aker and Taylor Gray, Daniel Dye plus 9, last driver in. If we were to finish things off as we run right now, it would be Grant Enfinger plus 4, minus 4 for Ben Rhodes, and minus 8 for Raja Caruth. So that's the playoff outlook as we run in the beginning of stage 3 for the Truck Series field here. Already a 7/10 of a second lead for rookie Lane Riggs, and he has never ran at Milwaukee before. His part-time schedule last season, he did not run at the Milwaukee Mile. And he'd been running top 5 the whole race. 4 top 5s in the last 7 races for Riggs. So he's doing quite well for himself right now. Daniel Dye inside of Ben Rhodes. That battle didn't last long. Dye finished 6th at the end of stage 2. He's fallen to 10th on the restart. Grant Enfinger, who was in 10th place, now outside the top 10. Back in 12th. Following the restart to begin stage 3 here, 48 laps to go. Ty Majeski, the highest running playoff driver, in 2nd. Christian Eck is 3rd. Corey Heim 4th. Nick Sanchez 5th. Taylor Gray 6th. Tyler Rankrum 7th. Ben Rhodes 9th. And then Daniel Dye's in 10th. Grant Enfinger 12th. And then Roger Carruth in 20th, as he struggled pretty much all day. Shorter tracks have kind of been Carruth's Achilles heel this season. 1.5-mile tracks is where that truck has had good top 5, top 10 speed. Only 1.5 miles, though, in this opening round of the playoffs for the Truck Series. We have, obviously, Milwaukee right now. Then we go to Bristol in 2 weeks for the second race of the round. 3 weeks, rather. 2 off weeks for the Truck Series after this. And then Kansas will be the last race of the round of 10 for the Truck Series playoff field. Corey Heim battling with Nick Sanchez. These two have kind of battled for position quite often in this race today. Sanchez on the inside of Heim trying to take over 4th. Get a slide clear off turn 2. And remain in front of him down the back straight. "46 laps to go." You're listening live to the Liuna 175 at the Milwaukee Mile on KRC. Lane Riggs is building up a gap. Well, he was. I guess it's kind of stalled out at about 0.7 of a second right now. Ty Majeski running a lot wider line through turns 3 and 4 that time. Down on the grip strip on the bottom is where Lane Riggs is running. Actually extended that gap just a little bit. Now Riggs runs the middle group through turns 1 and 2. But Majeski and Eckes maybe taking that wider lane. And running the wider lane, I think, is going to help preserve the tires a little bit more than running tighter around the bottom. Having to put a little bit more turn in the race truck. Now that time Majeski went to the bottom of the track just like Riggs through 3 and 4. Eckes stayed around the top. 43 to go.
Too tight, but if you watch Chris Negus being able to drive off the corner, he said, "I'm way too tight to be able to drive the same way that he is." So when he came in for that stop, they made some pretty big adjustments to try and get on the other side of that. He slowed the team down. It's pretty good, but they're like 14 laps to go. We'll see if we can hold on to it. And Grant Enfinger, he started this stage in the 10th position, but he's dropped a few to that 13th position right now. And I mentioned that they really struggled with the balance of this car. They tried to move the track bar up to help, and Grant telling his crew chief, Jeff Stankiewicz, "It is 5 times worse now. I have no right rear grip."
That's tough on this racetrack. I talked to a couple of the drivers and asked them what the biggest challenge was. And we've heard it with the gas pedal. We've seen it with the hands. That's getting the power down and getting that grip up off the turns. And that's what Grant is struggling with. You'd love to see a caution here before this race ends and make another adjustment. Throw another set of tires.
Yeah, we have another set of tires on pit road. This is about the time in the race last year that most of the field came to pit road when the caution came out. And then we ran green from then on. That's when Grant Enfinger, as you mentioned, Michael, restarted 14th and drove up to the lead and the win.
Okay, Honeycutt got around Enfinger. Now he's going after Craftsman. Craftsman's giving up to go from the bottom for now. It's up there in the normal groove, it seems.
And a solid year for that 45 truck. Talked about the success for Honeycutt. Ross Chastain won behind the wheel at Darlington earlier this season.
When you talk about Matt changing his line, he changed it by about 50 feet. Corner. He went from the bottom of the racetrack to about the 4th lane up.
Got to report that Matt's been shifting a lot. it makes sense. I talked about you hearing maybe Grant shifting gears. That makes sense that with that low line, maybe Matt could shift gears because he doesn't have such a wound up truck around the top.
Hit a ball down, but we're down on the bottom of the racetrack.
A couple guys shifting, but we've listened in on Grant Enfinger's truck during break, and he wasn't shifting consistently, maybe just with lap traffic and such.
39 to go. 8 of our top 10 playoff eligible. But the race leader is not. Lane Riggs, he's been rolling throughout the latter part of the season. Top 5 and 4 of the last 7. We know what an AC is on short tracks. And while Milwaukee is not considered a short track, it races a whole lot like one. And he's been impressive here today. After qualifying outside the top 15, really since the beginning of stage 2, he has been a player.
Phil not considered a short track. It drives just like one.
Yeah.
Just got some pretty good speed.
Overdrawn short track.
Yeah, I love this racetrack.
See there in our pylon, Daniel Dye's been running 5th, 6th, 7th in there. He's dropped to 10th. You've got to try to get a little aggressive here at the end of the race, get some spots back. As Lane, he's going to have his hands full for Magnus. We've seen that truck and Majeski. We've seen those 2 trucks run well in the long run. But for right now, I think the improvements Lane has made to that 38 truck has put him in a good spot.
Well, we've only had 2 cautions. And with that, lap traffic has been a factor. We saw it stage 1. Majeski's leading, loses the top spot to Christian Eckes when they're racing in lap traffic. We saw it again for the run-up spot when Majeski got Lane Riggs there in stage 2. So that'll be something that will bear out if we stay green here.
It's a battle for that 9th position. Looks like right now Daniel's a little bit better than Tanner Gray.
It seems like it would be so easy. There's so much room on this racetrack just to go ahead and drive by him, but believe me, it's not.
Look at that. Little gentle nudge to the back of the 15. Now can he dive in the corner and get this pass made?
Can he get the grip down there? Listen to him out of the throttle. Barely feeding the throttle. I think he's got that pass done.
Oh, very nice. Just was a little tentative about throwing it out there in front of Gray.
That was considerate of him not to just take it away from Tanner. Tanner's going to try to fight back at the bottom. It's going to be hard to make it work down there, I think.
Who's in 8th, just ahead of Dye. We haven't talked a lot about our buddy Ben Rhodes. Said he needed some improvements to that truck when I talked to him this morning. Said it just thought it had something for the long run. We've had a lot of long runs today, but finally surging up inside the top 10.
He just stays in the game, doesn't he?
He does. It's amazing.
Just singles, drives that ball right down there. And I would say, we're talking about Daniel Dye. Felt like one of the biggest differences with Daniel this year compared to last year was he doesn't try to hit the Hail Mary. He just takes what the track and the truck gives him, and that's why he's in the position he's in right now. Came in just below the cut line. Doesn't have a truck that's going to win today, but just like Ben Rhodes, hits it right down the middle, stays in the game. Then 1 below, but Daniel Dye has helped himself +7 as we run with 33 to go.
You know, Phil, I talked about, you said how tight things were around the cutoff line. We're going to leave here and say the same thing next time we go racing. It's not going to be any different.
And we're going to Bristol.
I love going to Bristol. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Just over 30 laps remaining at Milwaukee. It continues to be Lane Riggs in front of Majeski and Eckes.
32 laps to go. Again, a quick outlook on where the playoff drivers are running right now. Ty Majeski is in 2nd. He's 1.1 seconds off race leader Lane Riggs. Christian Eckes is 3rd. Nick Sanchez 4th. Corey Heim 5th. Taylor Gray 6th. Tyler Ankrum 7th. Ben Rhodes 8th. Daniel Dye 9th. Grant Enfinger 13th. And then 17th is Raja Cruz. So those are the 10 playoff drivers. The 2 additional playoff drivers that are not running for the driver standings, but the 45 and the 7 trucks running for the owner's points. Caden Honeycutt in the 45 today is in 12th. Sammy Smith in the 18, in the 7 rather, is in 18th. So that is where they all are running, and all 12 of those drivers are on the lead lap. Stills, we have 21 trucks on the lead lap currently. Matt Mills went a lap down, having to make an unscheduled stop, I believe, to change tires after he had gotten into the wall initially on the restart, so that dropped him off the lead lap. He is the first truck one lap down, though, as we run. 30 laps to go. Average race speed at this point, 93.98 miles per hour. Christian Eckes has led the most laps, 71 laps led for him. 45 for the race leader, Ty Majeski, or pole sitter, Ty Majeski. And 23 laps led for our current race leader, Lane Riggs. Ty Dillon was the only other driver to lead today. He led 6 laps, all during caution, which en route allowed him to win stage 1. And Christian Eckes, of course, dominated and won stage 2. With those 4 different leaders, we are sitting at 7 lead changes on the race so far. Just over an hour and a half from the start of the race to where we are race speed. And just 2 cautions so far in the race today. One for incident from Jason Alexander. He's the only driver out of the race as well. Everybody else still in at the very least. Still on track. We'll take our final ad break of the stream here. A little less than 30 laps to go. You're listening live to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series season opener. Not even season opener. Let me restate that whole thing again. You're listening live to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series playoff opener at the Milwaukee Mile.
Laps remaining at Milwaukee for race leader Lane Riggs. He's out in front of a whole bunch of playoff drivers. Let's get some updates there from pit road, starting things off with Jamie Howe.
I'm going to start things off with that driver that's currently running in the second place. That's Ty Majeski. As he's running right now, he's been able to make up 43 playoff points. He goes on back-to-back wins right now. And just in talking to the team, they've been slowly picking away at it all day. Mentioned the fact that his crew chief, Joe Shear Jr., thought the geometry might be off a little bit, but Ty said this is a team effort. We're just going to keep working through this. It's exactly what he's done. Go back to number 19. That's Christian Eckes. He was in clean air. What happened? Glad for now he's in the dirty air. He's having to work through it. For Nick Sanchez, he's been able to slowly just make some gains all day, and that was really his goal coming into the race and into this first playoff experience. He said, I don't have to win today in order to make it into the top 8. He said, I just have to just keep going and doing what we've done all season long. He slowly just picked away at it. Or the number 11, that tremendous pit stop they had, able to make up 5 decisions. Talking to Scott Zipadelli, he said, I didn't think it was honestly that great of a pit stop, but I think what it was, this track position is so important here. So we made some pretty big gains, and you see him now back inside the top 5. Those gains seem to work. Heather?
And Taylor Hay running in that 6th position. His crew chief Jeff Hensley told him just a few laps ago he's really proud of him and keeping his head and staying in the game after he had contact really early in the race. He also feels confident enough that if they could just get out front or even get a caution, they could win this thing. But we'll follow up with a 18 in the 7th position, Tyler Abrams. He's been quiet over the radio for the last few laps, but he has battled a tight handling condition on the 18. But tonight, he said he's proud to be here in Milwaukee representing his sponsor throughout this entire race. In the 99 of Ben Rhodes, he's running in that 8th position. He just radioed over to his team that something's not right. This just does not feel good. So the team is at attention right now. They were up on pit wall waiting to see if they needed to have him come down pit road to address the issue. But I've been listening to the radio and haven't heard anything further there for Ben Rhodes.
Daniel Dye still inside of the top 10. We've seen him run up inside of the top 6 so far today. He's back in 9th right now. The team telling him, don't worry about it. There's still over 20 laps to go in this race. Your focus needs to be out the windshield. One of the things Daniel said as he got ready for this playoff appearance is the fact that his teammate Christian Eckes is giving him those little bitty pointers. He said, you can't start to win races with little pointers, but you can put 10 of them together, and all of a sudden that's a big adjustment. So that's what he was focusing on coming into this weekend. Adam?
Some great reports on those playoff drivers that find themselves inside the top 10 list. But they're chasing Lane Riggs. This youngster trying to win for the first time in his career, and we're getting down.
I think confident. He knows how to get it done on the short tracks, and this is a drive. This is how you drive this track, and he knows how good he's been lately, running up front week in, week out. I think he believed when he started this season he could do just this. Go to big lane. This truck is a proven winner. It's a championship truck, and he is doing the job behind the wheel that he needs to be doing right now at this point in the year.
And remember, he's a national champion, weekly short track champion too. So we talk about his short track prowess. He's a car sport champion as well, so he knows how to run these short tracks.
And with an advantage of 1.3 seconds over Ty Majeski, the last thing he wants to see is a caution. Let it run out green as we have now hit our Craftsman 20 to go, and Lane Riggs is the race leader.
And there's about 9 other playoff drivers that want to see that caution, Adam. They want to see that chance to come to pit road, get a fresh set of tires, make that final adjustment, and go roll those sleeves up and get after it.
21 trucks on the lead lap. 4 different leaders in this race today. Mentioned downstairs a minute ago, Christian Eckes has led the most at 71. Ty Majeski's led 45 laps from the pole. Riggs out front now has been in charge of the field for 34 laps. And that cycle at the end of stage 1 put Ty Dillon in front for 6 circuits.
I think Lane Riggs right now just holding his breath that we stay green has a comfortable second half lead on this 98 of Majeski.
We'll take a break. Come back for the finish. 18 laps separating Lane Riggs and his first career win in the Craftsman Truck Series.
If Lane Riggs were to go to victory lane here today, it'd be 2 days in a row, less than 24 hours apart on 2 separate racetracks and 2 separate series in the top 3 series in NASCAR. We would see a first career winner. Of course, Harrison Burton winning at Daytona last night in the NASCAR Cup Series for his first career win there. And Lane Riggs trying to get it done in the Truck Series here this afternoon at the Milwaukee Mile. He's built up about a 1.3 second lead. It's kind of fluctuating back and forth through lap traffic between about 1.1 to 1.5 seconds. So lap times have been traded back and forth between the 98 and the 38, just depending on where they catch cars in the corners. But as far as consistent speed goes, he's doing what he has to do for right now. Is there any chance Ty Majeski could reach back there, pull up something to run down Riggs consistently here to the end of the race? Might need a lot of help from other lap trucks. We'll have to just wait and see how it pans out. Could get a caution, you never know. Even though we've only had 1 caution for incident this entire race so far. We do tend to see a lot more overtime finishes, I feel like, in NASCAR nowadays, so you never know. I'd say there has been a lot less, though, in the Truck Series this season than probably any other series percentage-wise. I think the Cup Series probably had the most overtime finishes, honestly, of any of the top 3 series this season. Granted, they have more races, but still. Percentage-wise, I'd argue that it's probably more also. Nick Salmon, thanks for tuning in. As well as Jordan Kirby recently in the chat. Never got to see Scott Riggs win, started watching NASCAR. This is it, yep. I mean, this could be what Lane Riggs needs. He didn't have a great rookie season to this point. Not till later in the regular season by the time he started to turn things around. Just with the top 5 finish alone today, it'd be 5 top 5s in the last 8 races for Lane Riggs. It just stinks that turning around a little late to not have himself in championship contention, as this win would come in the first round of the playoffs. Ty Majeski's cut the gap down a little bit, though, about 6 as he continues to close. 13 laps to go.
On a restart to begin the final stage, and now he manages lap traffic. 13 laps to go for the driver out of North Carolina who's trying to win for the first time in the Craftsman Truck Series.
But that rear, he's coming. He's coming. And that's what a driver that's trying to win their first race. And the last thing he wants to see, a guy like Ty Majeski, we've talked so much about his experience and his knowledge of short track racing. He's tracking him down. That's got to be a bit of a distraction for Riggs when you're getting caught like that.
Taylor Gray, Corey Heim for 5th.
Battle of Tricon Garage teammates.
Now, Heim came in with an enormous advantage over the cut line. His teammate did not. Neither did Tyler Ankrum. They're all championship eligible, and Rick's for position as we go inside of 12 laps remaining.
Nice move by Ankrum.
That is some great racing right there. Tight these 3 trucks are, and they all know how important each position is.
Taylor Gray's going to fight back on the bottom of the racetrack in that 17 truck.
Gonna try to put the squeeze job on Ankrum. Tyler's not having it.
See what Tyler can do down here, 1 and 2.
Tell you who's liking this. Corey Hop, you guys sort this out between yourselves. I'm going to get out of here, but that's not happening. Good run through turns 1 and 2 there for Gray. I think they're both better right now than Heim.
Look at the pile on Eckes, Majeski, and Heim, all better than 40 points above the cut line. 10 to go. Checking timing and scoring. The advantage for Lane Riggs out front, back to 9/10 of a second.
They ran about the same speed that last lap did Riggs and Majeski as we watch this battle. Tight battle for fourth. Fifth.
Gray's got it. He got by his teammate Corey Heim. You know, he had to be a little extra careful. Certainly didn't want to take any chances and make contact with his teammate Corey Heim.
Now Ankrum's going to try to grab that spot. Wow, so close.
Drive it hard down in the corner. It's almost like a slide job. He's got the lap truck of Thad Moffitt to his outside. He's got that spot now.
Tires are really in the speeds and the time around this racetrack. Just means you got to be that much more gentle with the gas pedal. These moves are impressive that we're seeing these guys make.
And it's hard to be like that too when you're battling for position.
That's a steady lead right there, right?
He's been outstanding in this final stage. Lane Riggs, only 22 years old, but showing plenty of maturity here at Milwaukee. 7 remaining. And he's got a 1 second advantage over Ty Majeski, who started on the pole and today led 45 laps.
Majeski can just taste it here at his home track in Wisconsin, knowing that victory is just out the windshield. If he can get to it.
I didn't even think about that till just now.
Eckes also heating up.
Majeski had his home track this weekend. Wisconsin native.
It's hot 10 to go.
Just think about how many times recently that Lane Riggs has been in the hunt for a victory. It would have qualified him for the playoffs. And if so, today he would be racing for a spot in the round of 8.
I think he's just going to be tickled to death if he can hold on here and get to victory lane and join his dad, Scott, as winners in the Craftsman Truck Series.
Off to turn 4. 5 laps remaining for Lane Riggs.
1, 2, 3. No lap trucks between them right now. They could put up the fastest time. It was Majeski that time by. Riggs is using up every inch of this racetrack, right out to that outside pole. Got to hit your marks. Real important, obviously, not to overdrive, not to worry so much about that mirror. Just listen to your team, listen to your spotter, telling you what the gap is, and do your job.
And fortunate for him, not a ton of traffic right in front of him. 3.5 laps remaining.
You know, the playoff drivers that are littering the top 10 there. There's 2 of our playoff drivers outside the top 10 right now. Enfinger, second.
Lane Riggs a couple tenths faster than Ty Majeski that last lap. 3 to go for Riggs. About a 1.5 to 1.6 second lead as he continues to extend it. Majeski not able to close that gap. He got to within 6 to 7 tenths of a second about 10 laps ago or so, but that is faded now. Still a 1.5 lead. 2 to go for Lane Riggs. Part-time each of the last 2 seasons, full-time for the first time in 2024 in the Craftsman Truck Series for Lane Riggs. And this time, of course, driving the Front Row Motorsports 38 truck. Should see many wins out of Zane Smith and a championship, in fact, within the last couple of seasons. Riggs not a hot start to his rookie campaign this year, missing the playoffs, but really started to turn things around. Again, 5 top 5 finishes in the last 8 races now for him, as he will get the white flag here. 1 lap to go for Lane Riggs. It'll be career win number 1. He's already proven he's a great short track racer. I think we noticed that in his debut back at IRP a couple of years ago, getting another shorter racetrack, very abrasive surface, similar to IRP. A little bit bigger in length, but Lane Riggs doing a great job yet again. This time a better job than he ever has before. Slides the car off turn 4, brings it home. Lane Riggs is a winner at the Milwaukee Mile and the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, the Liuna 175. Ty Majeski second, Christian Eckes third. Nick Sanchez 4th, Taylor Gray 5th, Tyler Ankrum 6th by a nose. Corey Heim 7th over Daniel Dye 8th, Ben Rhodes 9th, and Matt Crafton sneaks in to finish in 10th. Tanner Gray 11th, Caden Honeycutt 12th, Grant Enfinger 13th, William Sawalich 14th, 15th for Jack Wood, Ty Dillon 16th, Sammy Smith 17th, Raja Kruth 18th, 19th, Dean Thompson, Stuart Friesen last truck on the lead lap at 20th. Jake Garcia 21st, Connor Jones 22nd, Chase Purdy 23rd, Matt Mills 24th, Timmy Hill 25th, Brett Holmes 26th, 27th for Mason Maggio, Spencer Boyd 28th, Bailey Curry 29th, Dexter Bean 30th, Marco Andretti 31st, Thad Moffitt 32nd, 33rd for Matthew Gould, Justin Carroll 34th, Lawless Allen 35th, and Jason Alexander is the only car that DNF tonight, finishing 36th. Margin of victory 1.5 seconds for Lane Riggs over Ty Majeski. Total time on this race 1 hour 49 minutes and 15 seconds. Average race speed of 96.41 miles per hour. Only a 2-stop race, as we only had 2 cautions in this entire race, and every team's going to leave with 1 extra set of tires not used, as we did not get a caution in the final stage. The only yellow's lap 48 for Jason Alexander, hit into the outside wall in 1 and 2, which knocked him out of the race. That ran into the stage 1 end. Ty Dillon on pit strategy won stage 1. Pit strategy and dumb luck, I will say, with not going back to green, but nonetheless, Ty Dillon won stage 1. And Christian Eckes ended up going on to win stage 2. Race winner Lane Riggs. 71 laps led for Eckes, most of anybody in the race. Lane Riggs with the second most laps led 53, and pole sitter Ty Majeski led for 45 laps. Ty Dillon led 6 laps during that caution period earlier. 4 different drivers led. 6 lead changes. I mentioned 7 earlier. There were only 6. 6 lead changes total in today's race. So pretty straightforward one here today. 1 caution for incident, 2 cautions entirely. And you'll get to hear from race winner Lane Riggs here in a matter of moments. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet on the stream, so we can get to 50 likes. We are 5 short right now. We are currently at 45. So be sure to hit that like button. Again, subscribe for more NASCAR content, live commentary streams every NASCAR race weekend for Truck, Xfinity, and Cup Series races. It's our last live commentary stream of the weekend, but we will be doing a NASCAR 07 stream later tonight. A little Truck Series doubleheader with some 50% races coming up. Atlanta and Martinsville. That will be at 8 p.m. Eastern in a couple of hours. Our streaming schedule, while we're under a commercial break still on Fox Sports 1 for next week, looks like this. Truck Series will be off next weekend as the Xfinity and Cup Series head to Darlington for the Southern 500 Labor Day weekend events. Our Cup Series coverage on Saturday afternoon with Cup practice and qualifying will begin at 12:30 Eastern, followed by our Xfinity Series race coverage at 3:30 Eastern, also on Saturday afternoon, and a Sunday night Cup race under the lights at Darlington, as that will begin at 6 p.m. Eastern with our pre-race coverage beginning at 5:30. So 12:30 Cup practice qualifying on Sunday, Saturday rather, Xfinity race Saturday at 3:30 and 5:30 Eastern. We will go live for the Cup Series pre-race into the Cup race on Sunday night. Here's your race winner, Lane Riggs.
The team knows that he's in pain here.
We saw this replay during commercial, and I thought they were just trying to hold him up, but obviously they're working on that right arm.
Said, I'm good. Everything's good, yeah. And then he jumps up.
That is wild.
He gets a win and an assist to the crew for taking care of him. Ty Majeski, second today. Let's hear from him.
Well, here's Majeski first, I guess.
Home track. And Ty, I heard you were plowing tight pretty much the whole race, but would you say you're satisfied on this good points day in round one of this event?
Well, I think the fact that we missed it as bad as we did and we were as close as we were is super encouraging. That means we have a lot of speed in our trucks. It's just up to us to hit the package right. Joe and I put our heads together to come up with our Phoenix package and come up with some changes to it, try and make it better for Phoenix. Don't know that we got there quite yet, but man, super proud of the run we've had the last 3 races. We're hitting on all 8 cylinders right now, and just super proud of everybody. Everybody back at the shop has been working hard over the course of the Olympic break into Richmond and into Milwaukee here to get our trucks better. And we're seeing that improvement. And I feel good about where we're at. Thank you to Road Ranger, Soda Sense, Curb Records, all of our partners, Duke and Ronda Thorson. We're poised to make a pretty good run here, so we got to keep going.
Looking forward to Bristol and Kansas. What kind of things are you guys working on as far as improvement goes, like you just mentioned?
Well, the last 2 races, even though we've won them, we've made mistakes and have had to come back. And this race, win or not, of course, of the last 2 races. So we want to clean that up. Those types of things can be the difference between making it to Phoenix and not. So we want to clean those up. We did that today. Happy to be here in Wisconsin. Really wanted this one on my home track, but hopefully we can come back and do it again soon.
A solid points day here for Ty Majeski. Jamie.
And as Lane Riggs has now made his way to celebrate inside of Victory Lane, you can see the emotion take over his face, the checkered flag in hand. Lane is now being able to celebrate this. Just second generation racer here, watching your dad be able to win, soaking in this moment. How does it compare to what you imagined?
Oh, I don't even know how to describe it. Biggest thing I can do is just think, someone that was on the truck this weekend is their first race, and it's awesome for them and loves travel stops. Infinity Communication. Jeff, I know you're watching at home, man. We got it done. It's awesome. Thank you to Bob Jenkins, Jerry Freeze for letting me drive this truck. I mean, it's been no surprise that we've had a terrible year. It's been an awful year. I've learned so much though, and I went through my rookie season, and after the start, I thought there's no way we're going to get a win. We do the best we can, but we're just learning for next year. And I knew a practices thing was pretty awesome, so I could be more thankful to Front Row and everybody on this team. We have a good time together, and we're a family now.
We saw you celebrating after the burnout out on the racetrack. Looked like you might have popped your shoulder out. What happened?
Yeah, I dislocated my shoulder. I was celebrating so hard. It hurts like a mug, but it was worth it. It's not the first time it's happened to me, but it ain't gonna slow me down.
Not gonna slow you down. You get to celebrate this when he said on the radio, guys, I would go to war with any one of you on this pit crew. They get to celebrate tonight. Adam, Heather?
And a 6th straight podium for Christian Eckes, bringing it home 3rd here. What were you fighting there at the end? Because it seemed like handling was just a little off.
Yeah, I mean, the Napa Auto Care Chevy was really good all day. I was leading on the bottom, and it bottomed out for the first time all day. Shot up the racetrack, just couldn't recover. I was way too tight. Felt like it was going to build tight, and it did, and we just weren't aggressive enough on adjustments. So proud of everybody, but definitely a pretty big missed opportunity. So this truck will go to Phoenix. This is our Phoenix truck planned, and felt like it has a lot of potential. So we'll see what happens. But disappointed in that.
Christian Eckes with a solid top 5, Adam.
No question. Great run today. Second straight year
So you got interviews from the top 3 finishers from today's race. So look at the playoff standings before we get out of here. Nobody is locked into the next round of the playoffs, and that is because we did not see a playoff driver win this playoff opener at Milwaukee today. Christian Eckes is plus 60 points above the cutoff line. Ty Majeski plus 44. Corey Heim plus 41, plus 34 for Nick Sanchez. Taylor Gray is plus 13. That's where the gap gets a lot tighter. Also plus 13 for Tyler Ankrum, plus 9 for Daniel Dye. And the last driver above the cutoff line going into Bristol in a few weeks will be Grant Enfinger, plus 2 points. Minus 2 points for Ben Rhodes, minus 4 points for Raja Karut. So that is the standings headed into Bristol for round number 2. Race 2 in the first round of the Truck Series playoffs. Again, the round of 10. Thanks for everybody tuning in here today. Again, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, we will go live for our next live commentary stream next Saturday afternoon for Cup practice and qualifying for the Southern 500. The Xfinity race at Darlington next Saturday afternoon will also begin after that at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. And at 5:30 p.m. Eastern on Sunday evening into Sunday night, we will have full flag-to-flag coverage of the Southern 500. That will be the, of course, playoff, not playoff opener this year, but the regular season finale for the NASCAR Cup Series. Hope to see you guys for that. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit the like button again if you have not done so. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. I will see you guys later tonight, in fact, as well, for a little NASCAR 07 doubleheader also. So hope to see you then. Thanks for watching. Congratulations.